Welcome back to the Dress YouTube channel. In today's class, we're going to learn how to make this beautiful kaftan dress that we see here. It's actually an A-line kaftan dress, and it's very beautiful and simple to make. It has this adjustable puff elastic on the hem of the sleeve, and this is what the full view of the dress looks like. If this is something you like to learn, kindly stay tuned till the end of this tutorial.
Okay, so this is a kaftan dress. I want to put a zipper at the back because the neckline is not so wide. I don't want it too wide. So you can see I folded my fabric into 4. Front and back is folded together, and this extension here is just for my zipper allowance. So here that I have marked is going to be my starting point. Okay, so this is the center fold area. I'm going to start my measurement from here. The shoulder is 16 divided by 2 is 8. So I'll mark 8 inches here. I hope you can see it well. And then on that point, I'm going to take my armhole measurement, which is 9 inches. There again, I'm going to take my waist measurement because I want it a little bit fitted on the waistline, which is around 16 inches. I'll make it 16.5 because of sewing. I don't need my hip measurement because from the waistline, I'm just going to slant it to the hem. And the measurement I used in folding this is my hip measurement plus divided by 4 plus 5. So the hip is 50. 50 divided by 4 is actually 12.5 inches. So I added 5 inches to that, and that lifts it to 17.5. So I approximated that to 18 inches, and then I added 1 inch allowance. So I have 19 inches folded here. Okay, so that's the measurement I used. So now I have marked my shoulder point, which is here, and then this is my armhole line. So here I'm going to mark a neck width of 3 inches, and then a neck depth of 1.5 for the back and 3 inches for the front as well. So I'm going to connect this. Okay, I hope we can see it. That's the connection there. And then here I'm going to slant by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. The fabric is shaking, so I don't want to apply too much pressure on it. Okay, so that's the shoulder slant there. So here I'm going to take my bust measurement. The bust is 42. 42 divided by 4 is 10.5. So I'll mark the 10.5 inches here. It's a free dress, so I'll add around half an inch for ease, and then I'm going to add my seam allowance. I'm using 1.5 inches for my seam allowance, and then with my curve ruler I'm going to connect my armhole. So I have my curve now, so I'm just going to draw my armhole line, which is that, and then I'll go to the waist. The waist is 36 divided by 4 is 9. I don't want it too tight at all, so I'm adding 1 inch each to that, and then I'm adding my seam allowance. So from my waist now, I'm going to connect to my bust, and then from the bust I'm just going to connect it in a diagonal way all the way to the hem, just like this. So if you have a long ruler, I'm trying to make sure that I don't lose my, so I'll just place my ruler like this and connect that all the way to the hem of the dress. Okay, so it's that simple. So you can confirm your measurements and make sure that you don't have anywhere too tight. So this is my waistline, this is my hip, and everything is fine. So I'll just cut it out now. So after cutting it, I'm sure we're going to see it better. So I have cut out the dress, and you can see what it looks like. So this is the neckline for the front. You can see that it is lower than what we have for the back, and this is the side. So this is my bust area, this is the waist. You can see that it is a little bit shaped, and then from there I just connected this diagonally all the way to the hem. So you can see that it's a little bit wide down there. That's why I said you don't need your hip measurement, because it's going to definitely accommodate the hip that you have. Okay, remember I said my hip was 12.5. You can see that I still have extra here, so it's going to accommodate your hip. So now that I have cut this out, I'm going to separate the front and back, and then I'm going to work on the front. So on the front, I'm going to open the front out like this, and then note my midpoint. So on the midpoint, from my leftover fabric, I'm going to cut a piece of fabric. I want to use this to decorate the center a little bit. So the width of this fabric is going to be around 5 inches. Okay, so by the time I hem it on both sides, I'll have around 4 inches. And then the total length that I want to add this ruffle to, I want it to stop around my waist area, which is here. So that's about 14 inches. So if I multiply that by 2, I can get 28 inches, or I can round up to 30. So I'll cut out a fabric of 30 inches by 5 inches. So I have cut out this piece of fabric. Let me remove the lower one so that we can see it. So you can see it's just 5 inches by 30 inches. So what I'm going to do now is to hem both sides of the fabric. Then after hemming it on both sides, I'm going to gather it to a ruffle, and then I'm going to place it at the center point, okay, of the neckline. I'm going to place it on the neckline area so that I can use that to design the neckline. So I'll do this now and then come back to show us what next to do. So I have made the ruffle. As you can see, I just hemmed both sides, and then I gathered it to the measurement that I need at the center point. So the next thing now is to locate the center of this dress, and then I'm just going to go ahead and pin this ruffle in place. You can leave half an inch for turning before you start pinning. So I'm going to pin it to the center line, and then I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and then I'll sew it down. So after sewing it down now, I'm going to grab my back panel, and then I'm going to fix the zipper. Remember I said I'm going to put a zipper on the back. So after fixing the zipper on the back, I'll go ahead and join the shoulder of the front and back together. So that is what I'm doing now. I'm pinning this. I have already marked my center line, so that's what I'm checking to make sure that it is well centralized before I pin. So once I'm sure of that, I'll go ahead and pin it down so that it's going to be easy for me to sew. When I get to the sewing machine, I'll just go ahead and sew it down. So now I have pinned it down, I'll go and sew it, and then I'll also fix a zipper to the back. So I have sewn the ruffle, and you can see what it looks like on the center front, and then I have fixed the zipper at the back as well. So I just joined the shoulder together and the side with my seam allowance. So this is what I have. The next thing to do now is to work on the sleeve. So for the sleeve, I have cut out a basic sleeve. Okay, so it's elbow length. The total length that I have for this basic sleeve is around 13 inches. That's where the elbow stops, including seam allowance. So I have 13 inches here, and I also cut out another piece of fabric to form gather on the hem of the sleeve. So my hem is 16, so this is 8 inches on fold, including allowance. That's 16. So you can multiply that 16 by 2 or by 1.5. You don't have no fabric, so I multiplied by my 2, and then I have 32 inches, just like we have here. So the width of this was around 4 to 5 inches, depending on how long you want it to be. Then I went ahead to hem it. So if your lace have selvage, a nice selvage, you don't need all of this hemming. You just cut out the selvage so that it can give it that effect, but this does not have, so that's why I keep hemming the lace so that it can be neat. So now what I'm going to do now is to lay this and then gather all of this to it. So after gathering it, I've also cut out my organza that I'm going to use to form the puff that you see on the hem of the sleeve. So the organza is the same 32 inches that I used for the gathers, and then the length was about 11 inches, but I hemmed it on the lower part to create casing for my elastic. So I'll go ahead now and sew the ruffle to the hem first. Then after sewing the ruffle, I'm going to sew the organza as well and fix my elastic on it. So I'm going ahead to do that. You can see this is my main sleeve. This is the small ruffle on top of the organza, and this is my organza. I have also fixed elastic into it, you can see. So now once you join it on the underarm, this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so now after joining it, I'll go ahead and sew it to my armhole, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side as well. And the dress is ready, so I just take it to the mannequin so that I can see what it looks like. Okay, so I have sewn the sleeve to the body. So you can see this is the design we place at the center front, and then I just pipe the neckline with the same lace so that we can finish the neckline as well. So this is the first layer that we made with gathers, and this is our puff sleeve that we did with organza. It's adjustable because of the elastic that is there. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me. If you enjoyed it, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.